Right now, at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, there is a plain covered in rocks the size of potatoes. They took millions of years to form. Each one grew by accreting metal out of the seawater around it, layer by layer, at a rate of a few millimeters per million years. And inside them are nickel, cobalt, copper, and manganese, the metals that go into batteries, electronics, and the entire infrastructure of the modern energy transition. There are trillions of these nodules down there. They are sitting on the seafloor, unattached, essentially waiting to be picked up. And in July of this year, the international body responsible for deciding who is allowed to pick them up finished 2 weeks of negotiations, and once again, failed to agree on the rules. That failure is the story today, because while the diplomats deadlock in Kingston, Jamaica, one company has stopped waiting for them entirely. And what happens over the next 12 months may determine who governs 2/3 of the planet's surface, and whether the deepest ecosystems on Earth get disturbed before we've even finished naming what lives in them. This is the Trench Report. Let's go through it properly. First, the geography, because most people have no mental map of this. The seafloor beyond any country's territorial waters has a formal legal name. It's called the area, and under the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, the area and its resources are designated the common heritage of humankind. That phrase is not decorative. It's one of the most radical legal concepts in international law. It means the deep seabed belongs to no one and to everyone, that no nation can simply claim it, and that any benefits extracted from it are supposed to be shared, including with countries that have no capacity to mine anything. To administer that, the treaty created the International Seabed Authority, the ISA based in Kingston, Jamaica, with 169 member states plus the European Union. Its job is to regulate exploration and eventual exploitation of the area, and here's the crucial part. Under the treaty framework, commercial mining cannot legally begin until the ISA finalizes what's known as the Mining Code, the rulebook covering environmental safeguards, inspections, liability, and how benefits get shared. The Mining Code has been in development for years. It is still not finished. In March of this year, the ISA Council met for 2 weeks and concluded without adopting it. The sticking points were substantial environmental protections, liability frameworks, inspection protocols, compliance mechanisms, benefit sharing. Not minor drafting details, the load-bearing questions. Then the council met again in July, from the 13th to the 24th. Same outcome, no mining approved, no code adopted. Meanwhile, the number of countries formally calling for a moratorium or pause on deep-sea mining has grown to around 40. That coalition isn't fringe. It includes states that would ordinarily be expected to benefit from seabed development. So the multilateral process is, by any honest reading, stuck. Now here's where it gets genuinely fascinating, and where the story stops being about paperwork. One company, the Metals Company, a Canadian firm, held exploration contracts through the ISA via subsidiaries registered in Nauru and Tonga. Under the treaty system, that was the path: explore under ISA contract, wait for the mining code, then apply for exploitation rights. In 2025, they stopped waiting. Instead of pursuing an ISA exploitation license, the company turned to the United States, specifically to an OAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, seeking exploration and commercial recovery permits covering many of the same areas of international seabed already covered by its ISA contracts. Why is that even possible? Because of a piece of American law from 1980 called the Deep Seabed Hard Mineral Resources Act. It gives the US a domestic legal framework for licensing seabed mining in international waters. And critically, the United States is not a party to the treaty that created the ISA. It never ratified it. So there are now two competing systems, one multilateral, deadlocked, and slow. One national, streamlined, and moving fast, with an OAA having accelerated and simplified its application process in January of this year. The legality of that second route under international law is disputed, sharply, but disputed is not the same as stopped. The ISA responded by launching an inquiry in July 2025 into whether the company was still complying with its ISA contract obligations while simultaneously pursuing permits through a rival regime. The company's subsidiaries then took the ISA to court, to the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea, in June of this year, arguing the inquiry process had been unfair and seeking an order barring the ISA from continuing the investigation or terminating their contracts. On July 18th, the tribunal's Seabed Disputes Chamber declined to suspend the ISA's investigation. And then, days later, the ISA Council did something that surprised a lot of observers. It extended the company's exploration contract on the finding that the subsidiary had met the criteria for renewal. So as things stand, the investigation continues, the exploration rights continue, the court declined to intervene, the mining code remains unfinished, and the parallel American permitting process is still live. That is not a resolution. That is a system under visible strain. The nodule fields sit in the abyssal plains, roughly for 26,000 meters deep, cold, dark, under crushing pressure. For a long time, these plains were assumed to be near barren, muddy deserts with little going on. That assumption was wrong, and the lasted decades of exploration have demolished it. The nodules themselves are habitat. They are the only hard surface in a landscape of soft sediment, which means they are colonized by sponges, corals, anemones, and organisms that require something solid to attach to. Take the nodules away and you don't just remove rocks. You remove the entire structural basis of that community, and the timescale problem is what makes this different from any mining on land. These nodules formed over millions of years. There is no meaningful sense in which they regrow. A clear area of abyssal plain does not recover the way a forest does. Studies revisiting experimental seabed disturbance sites decades later have found tracks still visible and communities still not restored. Then there's the sediment plume, the cloud of disturbed material thrown up by collection equipment, which can travel well beyond the mining site and settle on filter-feeding organisms adapted to some of the clearest, least turbid water on the planet. And here's the thing that connects to everything this channel covers. We still don't know what's down there. In a single recent year, coordinated survey efforts named over 1,000 new marine species. Expeditions routinely return with organisms unknown to science. More than 80% of the ocean remains unmapped. So the honest position is this: we are debating the rules for industrializing an ecosystem we have not finished inventorying. Now, I want to be fair because this channel doesn't do one-sided. The case for seabed mining is not frivolous. The metals in question are genuinely needed for batteries and electrification. Terrestrial mining for those same metals carries its own severe costs, deforestation, water contamination, and in some supply chains, documented labor abuses including child labor. The argument from the industry side is that seabed nodules require no drilling, no blasting, no overburden removal, and displace no human communities, and that comparing them against an imaginary clean alternative rather than against real terrestrial mining is dishonest. That argument deserves engagement rather than dismissal. The counter-argument is equally serious, that battery chemistries are shifting away from some of these metals, that recycling capacity is growing, and that irreversibly damaging an ecosystem we don't understand is portrayed for a demand curve that may not materialize as projected. Reasonable people land in different places on that. What almost nobody disputes is the procedural question, and that's where I want to leave you. Subscribe to the Trench Report for new ocean investigations every week. We go where the light doesn't. And tell me in the comments, given the trade-off between seabed mining and terrestrial mining, where do you actually land?